Midas stretched his hand out, and a sword like the ones he had made for She appeared in his hand. He leapt at Newton and attacked with a warrior's fury. Newton was not able to stand up against the sword and was red-benched. Connors was the first to applaud the victory. Olympian rushed through everyone to place his hands on his friend. She and the other stealths were clapping from on top of the pit. Bioforce arrived just after the match ended. "Looks like it turned out all right," Darkspeed said to Connors. "Give it a few months. We'll see if he gets pink hair," Connors said. "He won't get pink hair. Others have tried this before. Downloading memories to shortcut learning, traditionally it ends badly. They're not as good as Virtuoso is," Darkspeed said with some confidence until Connors looked hard at him. "Okay, so there was the whole overdose thing. It wasn't on purpose." "Yeah, make sure you keep an eye on your team this weekend," Connors said as he turned to the hitters. "Olympian, get over here. Hitters, clean my pit before you leave." She floated down into the pit and landed close to Midas. "How did you see through the dirt? Was Virtuoso able to transfer my combat sense?" she asked excitedly. "No, I don't know," Midas stammered. Virtuoso walked close to both of them. "His power to change things allows him to feel objects all around him. I reconnected the instincts you use with your combat sense to him feeling all around himself. It looks like it worked out." "It sure did," she said. Smith walked up to Midas and turned to face him. "You showed a lot of improvement today. Good job." Smith reached out to shake the boy's hand. "Thanks, Coach. I'll stay and make sure the pit is back the way it should be." "Good enough. I'll see you Monday." Smith quickly rose in the air to fly back to the dorms. Midas was feeling pretty good as he did the task he was always asked to do after a class in the pit, clean up. She and the others stayed with him. "Do you think you could do the same for me?" Olympian asked Virtuoso. "Oh, no. If you want me to give you She's abilities, you're going to have to talk to Connors," Virtuoso said quickly. "She? I want Shogun skills." "He's still way better than Pinky," Olympian said with a grin. "You Pinky me and I'll give you a haircut," she said quickly. "Knock it off, you two," Darkspeed said. "She, if you're going to have pink hair, don't get bent out of shape if someone notices." "Hey guys, I'm all done," Midas said. "Can I stay here and spar with Midas for a while?" she asked Darkspeed. "No more than 30 minutes. We have to plan our weekend. Oh, and wear harnesses. You're both dangerous now," Darkspeed said. "I want to stay and watch too," Olympian said. "Okay," Darkspeed said as he and the others left. She quickly got harnessed, while Midas and Olympian were still harnessed. Olympian was quick to tell his friend how happy he was for him. "This is good for you. Just the shot in the arm you need," he said. "I tell you, I feel like I could do anything. Knowing what you're doing makes all the difference," Midas said. She jumped down into the pit. "Show me what you've got." Midas made his sword disappear and went after her with his hands. She knew she was 5 times his speed and over 30 times his strength. She thought she would take it easy on him. Midas had no such mental guards. He was going full force. She found herself almost underestimating him. Her combat sense kicked in and she started sparring with a little more effort. Midas fought like she did. He just couldn't get a decent shot in. She was proving to be much too fast for him. Midas was struck only a few times during the match. He didn't stop to think about whether or not the blow hurt. His mind was focused like she's now. Minute after minute went by and Midas started to move even more fluid, not resembling his old self at all. He kept pushing closer and closer to She until she used her power to repel him softly back several feet. Midas kept his footing and moved back at her. She started to push her palms at him in the air. Forces that couldn't be seen shoved at Midas from head to toe in a random pattern. Midas would get one foot swept while he was being simultaneously pushed up top. He wasn't able to move forward, but he never fell down. She was amazed that even some of her balance was now in him. Midas, tired of being shoved, caused part of the pit that was under her to disappear, making a large hole under her. Her combat sense warned her, like precognition, of the fall about to happen. She used her power to repel the ground far beneath her and vaulted up and over Midas. She executed a perfect twisting flip to land crouched and facing an advancing Midas. She used her repulsion power to knock Midas a little harder this time, backwards towards the hole. Midas didn't resist the energy. He flowed with it and jumped over the hole he created. He landed crouched and facing She, who was across the hole and rushing towards him. Midas watched how fast She could move as she jumped over him and executed the same flip and twist. Midas raised his palm at her and used his repulsion power to shove her back. She tumbled back across the pit like she had been struck by a hitter. Midas stopped to try and think about what just happened. "What was that?" she said, trying to stand. "What did you do?" Olympian said as he helped She up. "I don't know. I just thought about how I would fight as She. I thought about using my power to push, and it did," Midas said excitedly. She's mind was clearer than Midas, and it was racing for an answer. "Wait, you said the guy who trained you, Robert, he was telekinetic. That he animated things with telekinesis, right?" "I'm telekinetic?" Midas asked. "That must be how you make the giant spiders walk or the building materials move," Olympian interjected. "Then I could do that again." "Not on me you don't," she said loudly. "Do it to me. I'm invulnerable and harnessed," Olympian said as he stepped away from She. Midas took a stance that looked like She's. He focused from his center, feeling his power. He focused it out to his palm and drew his arm back like loading a punch. Midas threw the open palm punch out towards Olympian as he made a grunting noise. He felt the power leave his hand and accelerate like an electric rush away from him. Olympian caught the energy straight in his stomach. He flew backwards so fast he was invisible to even She's eyes. The cubes on the side of the pit exploded like sugar cubes hit with a bullet. "Did he bench?" She asked. "I don't know," Midas said as they ran to see what happened. Olympian thrust himself out from under the debris. He started walking quickly, holding his stomach. "Are you all right?" She asked. Olympian nodded and doubled over again. She and Midas watched as he tried to breathe. Midas felt bad and put his hands on his bigger friend's back. "Is there anything we can do? Do you want us to call Bioforce?" Midas asked. "No," Olympian said quietly. He struggled to get his first big breath in, and then started to walk it off again. "I think that's proof you're telekinetic," she said dryly. "Looks like," Midas agreed. "We need to get back soon. Why don't you put the pit back in order?" Midas did so quickly. Reaching out with his power, he grabbed one of the heavy cubes and made it float in the air. "This is so cool," he said as he stared at the cube. "Yeah, real cool," Olympian said with a little more breath. "Sorry about that. Why didn't you bench?" Midas asked. "I have a high pain tolerance. I wouldn't stop fighting with just the wind knocked out of me," Olympian said. "I guess that's true," Midas said. "Sure, if Connors hit him like that and he tried to catch his breath, he'd hit him again. So Midas, hit him again," she said with a smile. "You're not as funny as you think you are," Olympian said. "Nothing you two do or say can bring me down today. I know how to fight now, and I'm telekinetic," Midas said with his arms raised like a cheer. "And," Olympian interrupted, "we have time off. Race you back to the dorm," Olympian said as he took off like a rocket. She ran for the edge of the pit and used her power to gracefully jump to the edge and keep running. "Did your legs get faster too?" she said as she faded away. Midas looked at the 4-story edge of the pit. He always had to climb out on the cubes. With the ability to push down like She, maybe he could float out too. Midas summoned his power like he did before and ran full tilt at the edge of the pit. He jumped forward and sprung up off both feet and used his power to push hard underneath him. Midas only felt part of the acceleration as he flew straight up at supersonic speed. He looked down to see the academy get small underneath him. The air around him was getting thin. His momentum was carrying him way too high and toward space. Midas touched his earpiece and spoke quickly with the air left in his lungs. "Connors, emergency! Help! I'm in orbit!" Midas couldn't get air from the dark sky now around him. He quickly reached back and pulled the hood of his nano uniform over his head. It sealed just like She said it would. He started to get some air from the rebreather as his ears started to pop. He pressed his hands against the sides of his head and tried to suppress the urge to panic as his suit started to inflate. Connors grabbed Midas and quickly brought him back down to Alpha. Midas looked to see the ground coming at them quickly. He thought it strange he didn't feel any wind rushing by. Connors landed them close to the dorms. "What happened?" Connors asked with concern. Midas pulled the hood back off his head and worked his jaw back and forth. His ears hurt badly, and he thought Connors was trying to say something. Connors used his earpiece to call Bioforce. She didn't answer. "Bet she's getting ready to leave," Connors thought. He looked around at some of the students walking about.